So welcome back to D-Day at Peleliu. We're just about to start turn 5, but before I do that, got one little correction to make, of course, because there's always going to be corrections to make here. And that is down here with this HQ. Now, in the last turn, they were located here and they scurried out of the way into this now US occupied position to get out of all this nasty field of fire. But what I had overlooked was that a counter can't move more than one hex if they're moving into intense fire. So I had somehow completely blanked on that here. So they can only move one hex back because they're all of these, well, this hex definitely is under intense fire from yellow and brown, and also like this hex is under fire from purple too because this position is occupied. So yeah, you just wouldn't have been able to run all the way back over here. He has to stop here. He can still carry on moving next turn, but he can only move one turn and so on until this guy is, or all of these basically, are knocked out, somehow disrupted or killed or whatever. So that's the only real correction to make there. The other thing though is that over here I think it was this hex, I was attacking a unit that required flanking and bazooka, and I had been under the impression that all of the units involved in the US attack have to have all of the weapons required to take out that unit, and that is not actually true. So that's kind of revolutionary here for me. So I could have, rather than using the 2 US actions to get these guys to attack, I could actually have used those HQs that were here, because they both would fulfill the flanking. That's fine, but if I had this guy involved in it as well, who was in the HQ hex, then they would have had the bazooka. So I only needed one bazooka to be able to attack that Japanese unit there, so this could all have been done with 3 actions. So I have to remember that in the future, but it's good to know. Thank you again to Sebastias for pointing those out. With that, we can begin turn 5, and how's it looking here? We've got 6 units in the catastrophic loss box, and at the end of this turn, if we have 10 units in there, then we are done. So we're quite close already, I think. If we start losing units a lot here, then we are going to be in trouble. Now, we've occupied 1, 2, 3, 4 positions here so far, which isn't terrible, I think. Could be better, but we're making progress. We've just got to take out these, do something about this purple guy, and these guys as well. So I think we should try to focus, keep focusing on trying to take out and occupy positions here, and we'll see how far we can get. But the priority now is to just survive this turn, because the longer we survive here, the higher that catastrophic loss limit gets, because it's basically double the turn number. So if we can somehow get through this turn without taking any losses, which is very unlikely, then we'll be going into turn 6 with 6 units in the box still, but now the limit is now up to 12, so we've got a bit more breathing room, but I don't think that's going to happen somehow. So first thing we do is the amphibious operations phase, and we've got 4 landing boxes that are coming in here. White one is empty, so we're going to skip that. And we are going to start bringing in the HQs and the engineers here. So let's see what we've got. So starting from the left, no white 1, white 2. So that gives us a blue triangle and no drift. So there is a blue, but there is no triangle. and there is no drift, so I think that means that everyone is fine. There's no target for them to hit, so that was fortunate. Then there is orange 1, and that is a yellow triangle, and unfortunately here there is a yellow triangle. No drift though, so this guy gets hit, the engineer gets hit. Now he's down to 1 already, so that's fantastic. Fortunately, a lot of the stuff coming in here are HQs, so they're not likely to be hit on this run. And then the next card is a blue triangle, no drift. It's big on the triangles here, but again, nothing happening. Now we have an interesting little situation in that this zone only has an HQ unit, and it's impossible for them to be actually hit by anything here. So I'm going to skip the drawing of the card here because you can't get a star symbol, so they're just going to go in there for free. It just seems a bit pointless to blow a card on a unit that can't be affected there. So that's how they are. Now we will place our units. I think we're going to put these here, put them there, and we're going to put now what's going on here? We want to put you with them, and we'll put you with here, I guess. Yeah, let's put you here. And then these guys can come up and join the heavy weapon unit. Right. Now next turn, there is nothing. We have no units coming in, so we don't put anyone out here. So our basically all the units are coming in the morning, and we are at 11 o'clock in the morning on the 15th of September here. And then we've got some trickling in the early afternoon, and then nothing until the next morning, if we even get that far, which is very unlikely. So that's the amphibious phase done. So moving on to the next phase. Events. What's the event going to be? Place a hero marker on any unit and add a depth marker to one Japanese unit. Right. A hero marker, you say. So heroes just get put on a US unit of your choice. Part of that unit. A unit with a hero can perform an action for free. So that's nice. They count as a wild card for weapons. They have a few other advantages as well. So yeah, where do I want to put my hero? Basically, I can give that unit a free action. That would be quite nice. I'm thinking, like, I'm looking over here maybe, like looking at the places that I don't have an HQ unit nearby. Like, this is another option as well, because if I give him a hero, then they can actually do something themselves to somebody here, which might be nice. Like, because here we can, I'm thinking about attacking this unit at least, so if I can get him in there with a free action, I don't have to worry about blowing one of my 2 actions. Or here, again, for the same reasons, and they can do something. Somebody there can do something. Or here, same reasons. I'm going to go with this guy, which I don't know if that's a great idea, but I feel anyone needs a hero, they do. So I'm not going to bring out Sledge because he's not, I'm only going to put him on K35, and this is K31. I don't know who Pope was here or where he went, but I'm putting him here. So that's that one. And then we've got to add a Japanese depth marker. Now, where's he going to go? Is there an obvious spot for them to go? Does it say anything else? Just to one Japanese unit. So closest in hexes to a US unit. Well, any of these, I guess. Two more. Well, I mean, is there anyone who doesn't have 2 depth units? Or 1 depth unit? And it's just this guy, but this guy... Like, there's nobody nearest to a beach landing hex, is there? Choose a Japanese unit closest in hexes to a US unit. If 2 or more are equidistant, choose a unit in a position adjacent to the US beach landing hex. So it's going to have to be one of these 2 guys, right? I think. And the one with the lowest ID number. Well, you're a 7. You're a 2. So you can't put one in a position adjacent to a beach landing hex, but that doesn't stop them from actually getting one. So I think it's going to be this one. This is A2. So we'll put you there, so that's made that one harder. And that is that. And then we get to the Japanese fire phase. And this is where the fun starts. So, brilliant. So we've got an RA and an armor, and that's red, green, and brown. And we do have R, so the R code is now in effect. So we're going to see what that does. So I'm going to disappear and figure that out, and then I will be back in a sec. Okay, so now I've figured out who's firing at who, and it's not pretty. So we have the R action available now, and that means redeploy and resupply and reinforce and overrun. As it happens, I've had a look at some of these other red hexes out here. This guy is occupied, but has no units in its field of fire because it's just these one hex around it. But he can't move into another hex to redeploy because they're all occupied at the moment, so he does nothing, he just stays there. The tank up here would have to do an overrun action, but there are no units in its field of fire, so it does nothing. All the empty hexes here can't do anything, they can't do a redeploy. This one can't do a redeploy because there has to be a US unit within 3 hexes of it, and there isn't. This one can't do anything, again, because there's no position for it to move into to redeploy that's within 3 hexes. Same over here. This one can, so this one can redeploy. We'll do that one at the end of the red part, but he can redeploy into here, into A3, and then he can open fire, which means he'll be firing on this hapless unit here. But we'll get to that one later. The green doesn't have any special actions, and the brown does, in the sense of being able to hit armor on steady fire, which is actually irrelevant. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But first thing is the reds. So red down here. So there's 2 units here, unrevealed, and they are going to be firing at basically this one and this one. They're all in the red intense fire zone. So that's these 2. They do both get disrupted as well. So that's a bit annoying. And then green here is going to be hitting, who's a high point unit, this guy, this one. So there's only one to fire at here, but that's A15 disrupted. So they're both done. And then, well, actually I should have left green for last, but I don't think it's going to make any difference, so I did that a little bit too early. But that doesn't matter here. So red over here is going to redeploy. So he moves over to A3. He doesn't get any depth markers or anything like that. Instead, he just opens fire, and he opens fire on whoever is in, ideally, a intense blue, and that's this guy. So he's going to get knocked down to that, and that's red done. So green, now here we've got green and brown, and this unit is in both those fields of fire, so it's going to be a little bit complex. But essentially what's going to happen is they have to distribute their fire kind of among the most units. So what's going to happen is brown is going to concentrate down here, and green, that leaves green to attack this one. Now green can only attack one unit here, even though he's got 2 depth counters. Like, there's only one unit to attack, so it's going to be K31. The hero does nothing to stop that, unfortunately. So K31 gets lopped down. The hero can basically act as an extra step only when this is down to 1, though. And you can basically sort of sacrifice the hero there. But that is him done. Actually, I'll just leave it on the side there. Now, he isn't disrupted because this is actually a revealed unit. So that's good, because you could still do something. And then down here, well, hang on, that's that green. We just did this green, we did it a little bit earlier, but this green would then attack these, or this guy. And that's that green done, and then I think there's no other greens left to do. And then we go back to the brown. So brown is going to attack where it can, and it can attack, it can't attack the HQ because it doesn't have a leader symbol, but it can do steady fire here, but it can only do steady fire on whatever has that symbol on the card, which is a diamond. And there is a unit that has a diamond, that's A11. So A11 is going to get a hit and and disrupted. And there is A11. So A11 is going to get a hit, and he's going to get disrupted. So that's another unit down. So we're already on. I'm going to just shift them up. We're on 8 now. That's kind of terrifying. So he's disrupted. Now nobody else can get hit because he's already taken a hit. You can't take more than 1 hit from Japanese fire in a Japanese fire phase. He can't be hit. He can't be hit because he's got a circle, and this is not an overloaded or overcrowded hex, concentrated fire. The tank potentially could be hit, but he's got a triangle symbol, not a diamond symbol. So even though the armor hit bonus is on there, he can't actually be hit, and that's it. So one of those hits goes flying off into the sea, I guess. Nobody else for him to hit, but that's the best that we can do to distribute the fire there. So believe that's it. So we've got, he's not disrupted by that hit. He's disrupted. These guys are disrupted by this hit. This guy is disrupted by this one. This guy is disrupted by that one. And I think that's everything for the Japanese fire phase. So it's not looking great. We've got 2 more units to lose before it's game over. So this may end on this turn. It depends what happens in our combat, in our US action phase. And then at the end of that, so there's no artillery. Red, green and brown are undisrupted. If there is anybody even disrupted on the board, I don't think there is. So that is the end of the Japanese fire phase. Now we're on turn 5. We get a second event phase, so this could be interesting. Take a naval fire marker. Okay, so this is a special little counter that we can add to our repertoire. We can basically use this. This is a 9 strength counter that has unlimited range, and we can use this to barrage a unit, or we can use it to add to an attack that we're doing, a fire attack that we're doing on a Japanese unit. So that's quite handy. So that was good. Now we have the HQ phase, which we don't have in turn 5 yet. And now we are on to the US action phase, which I will figure out and come back and resolve in a sec. Alright, I've figured out, I think, what I'm going to do. And it's mostly going to be concentrating on 3 hexes here. Try and do something about them. There's a lot of these cubes around. This is just to show who has free actions. I'm not necessarily going to use all of them for everything, but we'll see what we can make out of it. But let's try and resolve these attacks, and then we'll figure out exactly what's going on with all this. So over here, like the general plan, well, let's go over the plan. The general plan is we're gonna use these 2. They're free action, so he's got the free action because of the hero, and he's not disrupted, remember. And these guys have a free action because of the HQ. And the naval gunfire that we just got, to try and pound this lot into oblivion. And then the idea would be that I move probably the HQ into there, unless I can move somebody from here maybe. I mean, I could use the HQ in that as well, which would be probably overkill, but actually I should really, shouldn't I? Yeah, if I use the HQ, that will give me the biggest spread of weapons. And if we need somebody to take over that position, I should be able to move this tank into there, because he won't be under any intense fire. And then I can move somebody from down here into this X to make sure that one doesn't get taken over. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll use everybody. So here we've got a unit with a depth. We don't know who that unit is yet, or what that depth is, but we have a 2-step 3 strength unit here in K31. Hero does count as whatever weapon as well, so that's good. We can use this because one of the attacking hexes is an HQ, and they have a radio. So we should be good for that. So we basically just add up these numbers. So we've got 7 here, plus 3 is 10, plus 9 is 19 on this thing. So we should hopefully be able to blast this lot into oblivion, but let's see how that goes. So first up, we flip that tile. Oh my god. Anything but that would have been great. Bugger. So that's a close combat. So all of this is for nothing. We can't defeat him, I don't think, no matter what, because we have not got the required weapons. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, yeah, the only way to defeat a close combat unit is to actually go into close combat with it, which is not the best idea. Damn. I mean, we would absolutely, I mean, if it was anything else, if it was like just a mortar unit or something, we would have absolutely annihilated it. But, oh, wow. And it's not even got a revealed depth marker either. Because the best that can happen, or the worst that can happen to the Japanese here, is that it's just disrupted. That's it. Wow. Well, that's gone then. And that's disrupted. And we don't have a revealed depth marker there either. That's so infuriating. I thought I really could have just taken him out there. But alas, it was not to be. So that's all those plans up in smoke. Right, next attack then. So down here... So I'm going to have to use my actual US actions here, so that's why these ones are rotated. So the plan here is that I'm going to use these two units, which are already a bit weakened, and I'm going to order these two to do a single attack, so that's one action. That's on the red hex here, and then this is happening up here, so let's do that later on. Here we've got 6 total strength, and we've got 2 more and 5 more here, so 6 plus 7, that's 13. Now the weapons aren't great, so this may not work either, but we'll see. So we've got 13. Oh yeah, and the reason this guy's got a free action is because he's in within a 1 hex radius of the big HQ here, so that's why that's happening. So 13. What have we got? Oh, of course you're a flanker. Oh, I hate you. Of course you're a flanker, and of course this doesn't count as flanking, even though it's from 2 different angles. Brilliant. So I should have just done that one, really, shouldn't I? Ugh, frack. Right, fine. So, again, we have way more than double, but we don't have the required things, so all he is disrupted. Sigh. Okay, well, at least we know. At least we know what's going on. That was a bit of a waste. So over here, I mean, this is just, essentially this attack is just to reveal what's going on here. Now, hopefully it's not going to be a disaster. So this is another of the actual US actions. And he has 3 steps and a 5 strength. And this guy has, again, a flanker. Brilliant. So flanking... and bazooka, and and he's in the jungle. That's actually not good, because now he is doubled. If we go over here, where is it? Jungle unit strength is doubled. So he actually, this may not be good. He's got 8 strength versus 5, and we don't have the weapons to beat him. So in this case, what happens? We've got less, just straight up less. So this is a pretty bad one. So in this case, the US unit is disrupted. Now what's going to happen here is I'm going to flip this over, and this isn't. You should note this isn't actually the color that it is in the game itself. The color is a sort of pale yellow, but it looks a lot like this. So I just recolored it a bit to make it stand out more. So this is to show that this guy is disrupted in the US action phase, so he's not going to lose his disrupted marker at the end of this turn. He actually stays disrupted. And the Japanese unit is unrevealed, so I think... Oh no, hang on. Well, looking at the wrong column. It's a Japanese unit is alone. So what happens is the US attackers are disrupted and the Japanese gains depth, right? So he doesn't, he remains revealed according to that, but he gets a depth marker, which is absolutely brilliant. So that totally backfired. I fear I am regretting my life choices here. And that is a disaster for E21 there. And that was all the plans for actually attacking. And now everything's gone sideways because I didn't get into this hex or that hex. So that was a particularly disastrous turn. Now I have to figure out what I want to do with my other free actions here. Is it better to put him into there? There's a lower chance of him being hit because at the moment he could be hit. Well, he's not going to be hit by the purple next turn at least. He may be hit by these other ones. It's unlikely though because it's a steady fire. I mean, actually it's a fair bit safer now because if these two are disrupted, they're not going to be firing next turn. So, I mean, it might be best to move him in there. Or I could move the HQ into there and then he can give orders to everybody around him, which might be nicer than where he is now. I can't move him anywhere right now because I'd like to move him into this hex, but it's fully occupied here and I can't move him into there. Well, I can move him into there, but it's now under fire, or he could still get hit potentially by the brown if they get a brown star next time. I think I'm going to move the Puller HQ into this hex. Don't think there's anything I wanted to do with anybody else. Yeah, I think that's fine. He can't move off there because there's nowhere for him to move to. So they'll stay there. So I think everyone else here isn't going to do anything. Like they're done. These guys have done stuff. This guy, well, they could potentially do something, but they can't move anywhere unless... I mean, they could move here as a free move if they really wanted to. But it doesn't really make a difference, really, does it? These guys are done then. Does anyone want to move here at all? Is there any reason to move anybody? I mean, this area is more mobile. Because there's basically nobody firing at them. So if we wanted to get people up here, we could, except that's got a purple there, so we can't move through there. We can move, I mean, we can move this lot up to there, which would be nice. Can't move anybody into... We can't move anyone into here unless it's one of these, which might be... Well, we can't actually, because we need one of our US actions to do that. We are unable to do that. So this is basically staying as it is, which is not great. We could move this unit up into there, which I think we will. Could actually move it. Well, no, actually we can't. It's got to stop there because it's a jungle. So we'll move him there. He's still down there. So he'll order this lot to actually go 1, 2... hang on. That's a jungle, isn't it? So he can't... I was going to move him up there, but then I realised, no, can't do that. Jungle. And over here he would have to stop because it's going to be a purple thing. I guess we could, we could just move him there. Yeah, let's move him there because he can get through this square at least, because that's not firing at anyone. And then we will move. We could move him into there as well, couldn't we? Yeah, let's do that. We'll move you into there. So again with this order, and then we'll move you up here. Of course that's moved him up there, which is now out of range of anybody. And I think I want to keep this guy here so that he can order these guys, so it's kind of ineffective to do that, I suppose. If I wanted to do anything with him, I'd have to use an action, but that's fine. I mean, this guy could do something because he's ordered by them. I mean, he could move over here, could move up there. It's just basically giving this guy more things to fire at, though, really, isn't it? I mean, I could move, like, this guy could move down here and then he can give C15 some marching orders, and we can move somebody up there. So why don't we move him down here, and we'll move you up here. We can move him here. We can move him here. And then we can move, let's just move him over here. And we can move Harris into here. And I'm just thinking now I've left this guy on his own, haven't I? And that's probably not the best idea. Probably just easier if I just move him back there. Because these guys, I mean, they're not really going to do anything, are they? They're holding the fort essentially here. So I think, yeah, rather than move him up there, I'm just going to do this. So at least this guy can do something. This guy can hang out here. This lot here, are they able to do anything? Not really, because, yeah, they're just full up. I think that is it for the action phase. So I am going to now remove the disrupted markers that need to be removed. So that is this lot and this lot. And that goes back in there because that's gone. This one stays, and I don't think there's any more disrupted markers to remove. So that is the end of the US action phase, and that's everything. And now I'm pretty sure there's 24 there, 30 there. This goes back over onto here and gets reshuffled. And I guess the last thing to do is to move the cubes off, but I'll do that afterwards. But that is it. So now we are going to be in turn 6 and then phase 1. So I'll see you for turn 6 next time.